Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, as it's been about a month since my last video on pull priorities, I thought now would be a great time to do that, and this will actually be my first one post the changes that we've gotten with the skill updates on November 11th, and so we'll kind of just take a look at all the upcoming support cards as well as Umas, I want to say through up to the start of Grand Live, and what you might want to be looking at when it comes to your priorities when pulling. This is going to depend heavily on what you currently have as support cards, what types of Umas you're wanting to build, because there's going to be different things that might be good for pace chasers, late surgers, or end closers versus front runners. And so this isn't going to be the definitive, hey, this is what you must pull. It's just going to try and help you kind of get an idea of what's coming up and what might be useful to you. Now, this is not going to be covering every single card up through it. I'm going to try and touch on like the highest priority ones that you're going to hear being very important to pull for different scenarios. There's going to be a lot of cards that are viewed as easy skips that'll kind of jump over, especially when it comes to Umas. But when it comes to Umas, you already know the general strategy for most is you want to pull your Oshi, and then the other ones are going to be kind of ultimate specific, what they're going to be good for. So we will touch on those ones that have pretty good ults or are kind of meta defining, but the other ones, they're just going to be, I'll skip over them for now and cover them when we actually get to them coming up, depending on that, if they're going to be your Oshi. So yeah, with that, we'll just kind of get into it. And I'm going to try and go through all the way up to now. Now that we're a little bit ways into Unity Cup, I'll probably end right around the PAL card banner for Grand Live that launches. So right now, we're on the Halloween one. So I've already talked about them, so we're going to skip right over to the next one, which is going to be coming here. And I'm using the timeline now. I was originally using Game Tora. This will link to Game Tora when we look at stuff, but I feel like this might be a better visual, and I'll have a link to this in the description. I'll as well be using this guide right here when it comes to the support cards. I like this one that's been made by these people up here that have the acknowledgements for, because they just have a very good graphical interface for kind of seeing priority based on the size, like the size of a bigger one being like everybody can use it, medium one being very strong for specific scenarios, and then smaller kind of being good for very specific ones like pace chaser or whatnot. So we'll kind of jump around on them, but we'll use the timeline to kind of go through these. So what we have coming up, we have Kawakami Princess, nothing too crazy on there. And then we have the rerun of Seiyun Sky and Muteki. And so with this one, it's going to be if you're a whale and now you're just looking to MLB these. I've used the Seiyun Sky as my borrow before when I needed heavy stamina. I've kind of moved off of it now, though. And, well, right now I've moved off it because I'm always borrowing MLB Rico when it comes to stamina. But the big thing on it is it has the gold skill of Escaped Artist for front runners. And if you're needing heavy stamina, this can be a good card. And then Muteki being a very good parent card because of its max hints and having a lot of good hints on it. But for most, easy skip because we have plenty of better stuff coming up here in the future. We have Manhattan Cafe, which I've heard of some comparing to being similar to Gold Ship. Has an ult that's just like hers. 30% stamina, and she's going to be available actually right before Libra Cup. But there's just so many big things coming up. Unless she's an Oshi, I would skip her. Gold Ship, it can pretty much fits the same role as her, has 20% stamina, and even though it's not 30%, it's actually easier to build around 20% than 30% because now you're going to struggle with both speed and power if all of your bonus is in stamina. Now that's not as bad as the ones that have like 20% guts, like Rita Taishin, that can be a pain in the butt to build because of that. But just know you might, the 30%, as nice as it sounds, might not be the easiest to build around, especially long term, but a very good Uma overall. Nothing too special about this support card banner here. We'll talk more about that one when it comes up, but that one's going to be mostly a skip. Kind of same here with Symboli, Rudolph, and Gold City Festival. Gold City Festival, though, just a quick note on her. She has something, if you like to do the kind of wonky builds in the future, she's the only one, even at this point, I believe, on Japan, which I'm looking at it in Japan right now, that has Battle Formation, which is the gold version of Opening Gambit. And so this is a dull movement for runners ahead when positioned towards the back early race. and it's a negative 0.3 excel. Now, it's very finicky right now. It's still not really strong and not a skill you really want to take. But in the future, we're going to have an Uma, which we'll actually get to here on today's video, which is going to be the Summer Gold Ship that actually allows you to trigger gold skills in the second half of the race, regardless of their conditions. So these are things you can use. Like, you can use this on any race type in the future. So you can do some unique things with debuffs using her alt and Inherit, but still pretty much an easy skip. The only nice thing is she's the only one that has that gold skill currently on Japanese. So then we get into the one right after here. Man, this thing kind of clicking, it puts it right to the top. Okay, so nothing too special on these ones. These ones will be easy skips. We'll cover them when we get to them. But, I mean, I think it's fairly obvious why they're going to be skips for most. Toshin Jordan has nothing too crazy that's meta-defining or ultimate. But right after it is the big one we've all been telling everybody to save up for. Fairly obvious banner to pull on if you do not have MLB Kita-san Black. I think enough has been talked about her. One of the negative things, though, and you're going to see this as Make a New Track is going to start, I believe, when the Machikane Fukukataru, or around this area. I think Sagittarius is going to be the last one before Make a New Track. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Make a New Track starts around here with her banner kind of being the start into it, kind of like how Riko was. Even though she's a speed card, she kind of mixes like a PAL card. Kita-san Black has one negative to it, but don't let this discourage you from pulling for her. And that is the race bonus is only 5% on her, and Make a New Track is you're going to want as high of race bonus as you can get, which is why you've seen people like me pull over Biko Pegasus and whatnot, because not only are they good overall as a stat stick, but they are going to be very good for Make a New Track. Kita-san Black does fall off temporarily for Make a New Track. Still can be used. You're just going to have to build around her with some 15% to make up for it. But Make a New Track is like the one unique one that has that problem. After that, Kita-san Black is going to continue to reign as like a premium top tier support card all the way up until kind of her power creep, which is going to be, which you use this chart to kind of see where that's going to happen, is the universal speed card. She is going to be that all the way until El Condor Pasta Speed, which is estimated to be on July 27th. And so if I actually pull that one up here, just so you can kind of see that what the power creep is it's effectively just an overall better stat stick on the stats for speed. A lot of similar but even better skills. But she also continues to have Professor of Curvature while adding another gold alongside it, and just overall, in general, better on the stat stick. That's her power creep there. So, Kita-san Black is going to still reign supreme, even after Make a New Track's done for over a year and a half, which is going to be when we'll see El Condor Pasa drop. And the funny thing is, El Condor Pasa speed does drop alongside a new scenario banner, so you're going to have a PAL card, think just like Riko and Rice Shower, and so you're going to already be pulling heavily on that card, so really good there, and you're going to see that with a lot of them here in the future. Now, we won't be covering all of them, we're only going to go up to Grand Live, but just know that's going to be the scenario. So, that was a little long on the description there, but it's kind of saying, Kita-san Black is going to be good for a long while, and probably the longest lasting card you're going to still be able to pull for at this point. So we have that. Let's continue here. Man, this thing pushed really far forward on me. Okay. Might be actually easier to just use Game Tour because I keep losing track of where I was. Okay, there's Kita-san Black. All right, but the one negative. Right after Kita-san Black comes another big banner, and that's going to be Mejiro Dober. And so you've probably already heard that I will be pulling for her. And right now it's only showing sports. But Mejiro Dober is going to be very, very big for your end closers and late surgers. If you already know Major Orion being very strong with her ult being one of the accelerations they can utilize if they're in 6th place to get going, Mejiro Dober is going to be the other side of that. So when it comes to building them, she does similar to Major Orion but now it activates in 6th and 5th place. When you look at her alt, when inherited, it's a 0.2 excel from 5th and 6th. Now, it does have a condition to it that makes it a little bit more tricky. The biggest part of it is this temptation count. So if I actually go in here and look at it, temptation count, the number of times you've been rushed. So 0 means you cannot be rushed. So if you get rushed, her alt is dead. Now, there will be a future green skill that comes out that reduces it. And so this one's not going to be reliable. So you're still going to want to use Mejiro Ryan, but you pair both of these together. Because then if you're in 6th place and you don't get rushed, you can trigger both of them and basically get the equivalent of a gold excel now in the 6th place. Or if you don't get rushed and you're in 5th, because you pushed a little too far ahead, you can still get that 0.2 excel. Very, very nice. Unless you're never going to be using late surgers or end closers, she is a big pickup. Right after her, so we have the support card banner here. Nothing too crazy with that, and we'll kind of skip over that. But then we have the next one. I know a lot of people, she's been heavily talked about, Oguri Cap Christmas. She, in my opinion, if you're willing to spend any money, and you're able to pull Mejiro Dober, you're able to spend any money in the game, Christmas Oguri Cap, in my opinion, is a skip banner, regardless of how good she is, because you will be able to buy a selector on the anniversary for like $20 to $30 if they kind of follow Japan's route to just outright select her as your Uma, and she's not really going to be meta for anything other than potentially Scorpio Cup, which drops the exact same day she does. And so with the acceleration, we might actually get her like right in the middle of Scorpio Cup. And there's not only the reason to be able to wait till anniversary to pick over the selector, but also to see if they accelerate skill changes and Uma buffs. And so there is speculation. Nothing's confirmed on this. But the reason you want to kind of do that is why we were talking about her being so good in the beginning is she dominated for a long while. But if they continue the acceleration of giving us buffs, we have that speculation that we might potentially get the 2nd year anniversary updates on the 1st anniversary. That would cause her not to be bad, but she would no longer be crazy good to the point that she's going to win tons of races on like every track. It doesn't make her bad. She's going to still be very universally good. You can build her for a lot of different things, but she's just not going to be overpowered, dominating everything. And the best example I can use of this is Summermaru Zensky. Summermaru Zensky, as we saw, was very, very good in Leo Cup. If you were able to build her really quickly for Cancer Cup, she was very good in Cancer Cup. Then we got the skill changes. And while she was not bad in a Virgo Cup, she no longer could just outright dominate it. Kind of the same thing we see with Smart Falcon as well. No longer outright dominate it. If anything, the buffs kind of shifted it a little bit more to Taiki Shuttle. But even then, it was still a little bit wider variety, as a lot more Umas had potential for winning. Same thing will happen with her if we get the accelerated schedule to give us the skill evolutions. Because the big thing that really kind of reduces her value is all of these evolutions will come to Umas, which basically make all Umas in general stronger, which basically bring them to her level. So all Umas are strong, and she no longer dominates. She'll still be good, though. So, to me, that gives you even more reason to skip, just to kind of see what happens, and then if they don't accelerate that, you can use the selector to get her and then dominate a few champions meetings until they do give us the 2nd year anniversary. But we fully expect to get it early, even if it's not on the 1st anniversary. So, just kind of with what their track record has been. But still, very good Uma. Kind of with all that explanation, she is a very good Uma. I just think she's a very good pickup on the selector. Now, I've heard some people say they're going to do the opposite here, which is they will skip Mejiro Dober and pull for Christmas Oguri Cap, and then they will use the selector to get Mejiro Dober. That's always a strategy, too. I just think that you absolutely should save something of value on the Uma side to use your selector on. If you've already pulled for everything you like before them, you definitely want to have something of value, because you don't want to just pull a dupe with the selector. And so I personally would be skipping Oguri Cap Christmas most likely and using the selector for her. And that's just because she's not going to be like dominant on the couple, like the 2 champions meetings, 2 or 1 champions meetings before anniversary, to the point that I can make that work. But that's with her. All right, we kind of move on from there. The banner after the Christmas one, I mean, we'll have just been hammered crazy at this point. And so this one is, like, I won't call it bad. Like, I think Mayano Top Gun speed is okay. Biggest thing being is it's a speed card that does have Restless. So it gives you some options now for your front runner, where, now I'm thinking of this as a borrow, where you borrow this card so you can get a second heal on your front runner, which has kind of been very tricky outside of like Sumamusume Zensky, because you need, I think it's the only one is like a Guts card. But other than that, nothing too crazy. I mean, it has head on as well for your Pace Chasers. So potentially if you're building like Pace Chaser parents, you could always borrow this. That's the thing, borrow. Borrow it for the couple things that you might want on it versus actually pulling, unless you're like a super whale. But another reason to kind of skip that is we continue to have good stuff coming up. It seems like every time leading into a new scenario, there's big banners. Nothing too crazy with Fine Motion or the banner after her. But then the next one is going to be Tamamo Cross, and then the Nice Nature Oguri Cap rerun. Tamamo Cross, I won't say anything. She's not crazy. Like, she's not like a meta level, but she is very good. I may pull for her because I like my end closers. I think she's an Oshi for a lot of people. What I really like is she has Tail 9, which is the gold version of Tail Held High. I just like the skill just in general because it's so cheap. So it's a very strong skill that's very cheap when our skill points are we have very few of them. She has built-in Fast and Furious. She has built-in Straightaway Spurt. So you can kind of build her as Late Surger or End Closer depending on the track. And it will really depend on the track because her ultimate is kind of track dependent. What are you going to get paired with? Because it's very positional requirement, but it is very strong if she hits it right. Because it does have acceleration paired with that speed. You've probably seen her in Career where she just takes off. She also has a very good stat bonuses. I love the 20%, 10%. So, she's not really meta defining, but she is a very good end closer though. And you will probably see a lot of hers. I think she's going to be very popular. But she does get paired with the Nice Nature Oguri Cap rerun. If you're a heavier spender, this is going to be coming right out before making you track. And she is a 15% race bonus card and a wit card. Very, very strong. But you can make it work without her. We're gonna get a free 15% race bonus card. That's already one. There's an SR card, Nishino Flower Power card, that has 15% race bonus. That's 2 right there. Your main target goal is 60% race bonus. Those 2 cards by themselves get you to 30%. And so even if you use something like Kita-san Black, which is 5, you can still, with a couple more 10%, which there's tons of 10%, get yourself to that 60. So it's not necessary to pull for her, but she is going to be very, very good for making you track. Just know she does fall off after making you track. Now, she does have the gold on your left skill, too, if you really need that for your late surgers. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Oh, and then the Oguri Cap Power. It's a power card. I try and avoid using them. But this one I've used it in the past, realistically only Miles, and that's because it has Furious Feet on it for your late surgers. So if your Uma doesn't come with it, like Vodka, this is a good card to get that. This is one I really liked on like Grass Wonder and Gold City because they have it on your left, but adding in Furious Feet makes it even better for them. Okay, and so that's that one. Nice Nature's there. But then it leads into the, you got the Haru Urara, that, those who want one, that's going to be a little bit better than the standard one we have, the New Year's version, as well as TM Opera. I haven't really looked heavily into TM Opera, but I've heard she's pretty strong, not meta-defining, but this banner is going to be paired with the Machikane Fukukataru Speed one, which this is kind of a PAL card. Now, the New Year's is going to be, it's going to be a little bit different in that we're going to get a lot of pulls here. Now, you can let me know in the comments, but from my understand, on these polls, it alternates between support card and the Uma, back and forth. Now, there's a technique to get all of your polls on the support card banner, but it requires you to skip playing for a day so that it gives you the boost, the extra ones. Like, so when it gives you the 10 from the Uma day, since you didn't log on that day, it actually gives you 20 on the support card banner. I don't know that strategy. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just pull. I'm going to be on every day, and I'm going to pull whatever they give me for that day. But this is going to be one of the banners where we're going to get some extra pulls that you can put towards it. Kind of a PAL card mixed with speed. It is nice that it's speed because you can take advantage of the friendship bonus, unlike with a normal PAL card, which doesn't have that. Has initial stats pretty much in everything. But the mix of the PAL card has that energy cost reduction. Has training effectiveness of 10%. Race bonus 10%, which there are very few speed cards with it. But just like all the others, you're going to need an MLB to take advantage of it because at 3 limit break, it's only 5. So this is going to be one of those ones where it's going to tease you with those free pulls. And you're almost certainly not going to be able to MLB it in 200 pulls. So to me, this is an easy skip. If you're willing to pull, Biko Pegasus to me was the better one, being a very strong stat stick alongside having that 10% race bonus. While this one's going to be nice for Make a New Track just because of the initial stats. And then trading effectiveness is going to be pretty big. And just being able to get Rainbow because of how Make a New Track works. The very few times you're going to be training. But you really can't use this card unless you MLB it because the race bonus goes from 5 to 10%. And you have so many other options for Make a New Track. It is not a must-have. Just take your free pulls. Hopefully you can get some nice off-banner hits. Or if you, for some reason, get like 3 of these in those free pulls, maybe you push it. But I will be skipping that card. Now, I've got a very strong deck already, which kind of gives me that freedom to do that. But she's, to me, a very easy skip. Right after that one, we have another banner coming up. This one's a bait banner. As I said, there's going to be a selector we're going to get on the anniversary that you can buy any Uma prior to it. And it's going to be like $20, $20, $30. So if you're willing to spend any money, you have that. This Uma banner, though, is kind of like a selector in that when you hit pity, like there is no rated, there's no uprated Uma on it. But if you hit pity on it, you can pity any of the Umas on the list. And so this is going to be that way. If you're not willing to buy the selector and you have tons of pulls, that you can do 200 pulls and then pity any of the Umas that you don't currently have in this list. But while pulling, it's just going to be random. So you do want to hit that 200 pulls to guarantee the specific Uma you want. Very, very bait banner. But if you have multiple Umas, like if you're new to the game and there's multiple that you want, this can be your opportunity to get one of them and then use the selector that you pay for another one. But other than that, that's going to be a skip. This card kind of bad here as well. Here we have those paid banners I'm kind of talking about right here. I believe there's a support card one as well. So these are always going to be, if you're willing to spend any money, these are, to me, always the best ones to buy. I know some people advise against the randoms because you could get something you don't even need or a dupe of a Uma. But $20 for a potential chance is a lot better if you're willing to spend money than spending your pulls for a random chance. So I buy them regardless. But then again, I spend quite a bit of money. But the selectors are 100% worth it. So you go through that. We have... She's not really a meta. Oops. Then we have the PAL card banner with Tazuna and Rico. And guess what? Make a New Track has started at this point. Do not pull. Just do not pull. You should be done. At that point, once Make a New Track starts, you're going to be doing Make a New Track for pretty much everything. Unless you're very limited on time for parent runs, you might want to do them outside it. But man, Make a New Track is just going to be so much better. More skill points. Because you're doing non-stop racing, so high affinity. The spark there is not exactly like every new one has a new race sparks. Like you have the URA, which has the power, speed. The Unity has wit, power. I believe if I remember, someone said make a new track is like guts, power, or something, or guts, stamina. I can't remember. It's two different stats than what we currently have. But to me, those never are a defining factor. And you're just going to always be in it. The only reason you wouldn't be is if you don't have the time to do the make a new track runs, which is they are very long. We are really hoping with them accelerating the quality of life that we get rerolls at that point. If we do get rerolls, make a new track is even better at that point, because then you'd use your TP rerolling on the make a new track run versus doing multiple Unity runs or whatnot. So I don't even know why I went that far into it. Skip it. You should be focused on making a new track at this point. When you're doing parent runs and that, Rico doesn't even matter anyway. So after that, then we have all the big banner. Everybody is going to probably want to pull that likes front runners to any certain extent. And that is going to be Mejiro Bourbon Valentines, Asian Flash Valentines. Now I've already talked about why she's really good in the past. She has everything she needs built in. Frontrunner savvy, escaped artist, concentration, groundwork, wet conditions if it's a wet condition one, early lead, which one negative. You see early lead. She is missing taking the lead. So there is one big downfall to her, and probably why I might not actually run her as an ace and only as a parent. She cannot use the Wit Mejiro Bourbon support card that we just got for free with the Halloween event. And yeah, that's going to be very important for that acceleration. And so she's going to really need to either use the twin turbo one or just accept she's going to be a little bit slower on the acceleration. It's not going to be the end of her. But I feel like that does weaken her value. Now, I'll be running Runaways most of the time with like Silent Suzuka, which is also what kind of changes it. But even if you're kind of one of those people that's not going to really want to use her as an ace, she's a very, very, very good parent. She has everything built in, so you can not worry about your support cards as much and just use very strong support cards to carry her stats through a run. And yeah, there's not much else to say other than she just has everything built in for parents. Or if you want to build her as an ace, very easy to get everything for your ace runs as well. Then she also is paired. The nice thing is she is also paired with Asian Flash Valentine. Now, we already have options for what she can do. And that is, she is one of the few people that has Dominator in her kit. You don't want to pull specifically for her because we have Agnes Tachyon already and Grass Wonder that can be your Dominators. Also Symboli Rudolph. But just know there's really not many other opportunities other than Nice Nature Cheerleader when she comes out that'll have it. So just another option if you want to run somebody different that has Dominator on her kit, but she's not going to be a specific pull. And then we go kind of through that. We'll have Capricorn Cup, which I think is our first short, if I'm not mistaken. And then we kind of go through here. Mejiro Arden. Nothing too special on these ones. Of note. Oops. Man, I keep clicking. Then Admire Vega. Admire Vega is not going to be meta defining in any way, but I just thought I'd make note of her. There might be Umas that I've skipped over already that have this trait that I just didn't think of to make note of. I just make note of her is I do like her stat sticks of 10 and 20% power. And she's only got 3 A's. A in turf, A in medium, and A in end. Very good for getting that medium and turf sparks. And she has decent affinity with your other end closers, being an end closer herself. But there's nothing else that's all that crazy for her. She's not meta defining, but can be working out as a decent parent just because it's going to be easier to get those red sparks. Now, if we do get the update where we can use Spark Selector, that might get less value as well when you can select the specific red one you want. And there's the problem that she comes paired alongside another big banner, and this is going to be a must-pull, in my opinion, for a lot of people. That's the Fine Motion. And so Fine Motion is going to continue to hold value for a little while, still up to this point. And this is going to be your opportunity to MLB her. Hopefully, if you rerolled at the launch of the game, she was the one you got. Or you've gotten her copies playing on other banners up to this point. Just all around great stat stick wit card. I've got her at 3 limit breaks. Very, very good right now, and she'll continue to be good. And this is going to be the point where you'll be able to pull for her. No real need to really talk on that one other than she's going to be a really good pickup there. Now, this is kind of one of those areas where there's a lot of stuff you want. Man, I am going crazy here. Go back over there. Because right after her drops Kita-san Black and Marekane Tannhauser. And so this is going to be, I think, our first time we're going to get another new 2-star. And nothing really to say other than that. I think a lot of people like her. But it's a 2-star. You'll get a ton of her on this banner because she's the rate up 2-star. But the reason you actually want this one is for Kita-san Black. She's going to be our long frontrunner. So she's going to be the meta frontrunner for longs. She has 20% speed, 10% stam, pretty good stat sticks. Don't need to go into depth on her, but she does have taking the lead built in. So very, very nice having this built in, because when it comes to the long races, it's very hard to fit in those wit cards. So you can skip taking the Mihono Bourbon wit card because you have that gold built in, and instead focus more on your stamina, speed, or power as needed. And then also take a stronger stat stick wit card like Fine Motion on her. She has Leader's Pride built in. Her ult's really good for longs. Overall, going to be your long Uma. Don't need to go into depth in her until we actually comes. And just know, if you like front runners and you want to build them for long, she's going to be a go-to. But she's paired with another very good banner that is going to be a big pickup for a lot of people. This is the banner that I'm telling everybody to save their SR crystals for, so you can MLB this card. So while Noeater Top Road is a good card on this one, she's very good for make a new track and like make a new track only. You're not going to be pulling for her. She just gets a lot of training effectiveness when you have a ton of fans, which you're going to have in make a new track very early because you're going to do so many races. And she has a race bonus 10%. But other than that, she's got not enough going for her. I mean, she has a gold green, which gives both speed and power. But she's not actually going to be the reason you pull on this banner. But instead, Admire Vega Guts, which has a 1% pull rate. You only need one copy of her if you're smart and save those SR, or I won't say smart. You might have to use those SR crystals for other SR cards. I'm not going to fault you for that. But she's the reason, if you can save them, that you want to save them. Because you get one single copy of her and then use those crystals to MLB her. And bam, now you have a Guts card with 15% race bonus. One thing you've probably heard about, maybe, we'll talk about it when Make a New Track comes out, is there is Guts builds for Make a New Track where you take like all Guts cards. And she's a 15% race bonus one. There's Ikuno, which is Ikuno, whatever the name is. The one that's currently on banner right now, that's a 15% race bonus Guts card, which you would borrow in this scenario. So you pair her with the Ikuno, then you just take like Urara, which is a 10% race bonus Guts card. There's a couple others. But what you can do is, because the way that Make a New Track works is you can get a massive amount of training effectiveness when you buy from the shop after doing your races. And the one or two times, the very few times that you're doing training, you can stack those training effectiveness bonuses. And if you have a bunch of Guts cards, you can hit Guts and basically get 100 Guts, 100 power, and 100 speed, all on a single training. She's going to be very strong for that. I don't completely know the strategies on that. Just know there are Guts decks where you stack them, so you have a very high chance of them landing and you being able to get multiple rainbows with very high training effectiveness from buying stuff in the shop and getting very high. You can max Guts, max speed, and max power with the strat while still having enough stamina and high wit. So, to me, a very, very big pickup. You only need one copy of her, though, especially if you can save up those crystals. If you're going to whale out, it can be an okay one to whale out as well, because an NTR will be good. But kind of continuing from there, looking at cards coming out, nothing too crazy. I think that's the last big one until we get to the anniversary. Really nothing special on here. I mean, we're going to have the selectors and all that on anniversary. As I mentioned, go ahead and this is where you're going to spend money if you're willing to spend money. It's the best time to do it, most efficient way. Then we have, I don't think the Seiyun Sky, Fuji Kiseki ballrooms are must-haves. I believe they have decent alts, but I haven't looked too heavily into them to really say much on them. But I believe she's another similar one that's going to be good for your front runners, potentially. But I can't really speak much on that one. But I think they're going to mostly be skips. And that is because the big one right after them is going to be Nishino Flower. And so Nishino Flower is your Major Orion of Pace Chasers. So she's got a ult that you're going to want her, regardless if you like her or not, for your Pace Chasers, as she has basically your Major Orion for Pace. You inherit this, a point to excel. I don't know all the conditions here, but just know it's Pace Chaser acceleration based on the positioning of the Uma. So it looks to be like less than or equal to 4, so 4th place or earlier in the final corner, and order greater than or equal to 3. So positioning has some stricter positioning, just like Major Orion, but that strict positioning is for your Pace Chasers. We don't need to go in depth into that until she actually comes out. Just know she's a big pickup for them. Kind of go past them. Nothing too special here. You have the Twin Turbo and then NS Fujin card. This is going to be like a Super Whale one. Twin Turbo sucks, but NS Fujin is one of your stronger Guts cards out there. I actually have her at 2 limit break now, which realistically I'm like, I might want to just keep her at 2 limit break because I don't really care about special priority on my Guts card. But I wouldn't pull for it. Just a very good card for your front runners if you're going to build a Guts deck around it. But easy skip for most there. Kind of looking here, nothing too big until this banner right here. The Mr. CB Tokai Teio. And I want to make sure I didn't skip over it. I thought Mr. CB was a little earlier. I guess not. The Mr. CB card is going to be your end closer card. A very big, strong one for your end closers. And the reasoning being, now you've probably already seen this skill, Early Start. Early Start sucks. I mean, it's a 4-second, but it's a 0.05 speed increase. Very, very weak. It's a very cheap skill. If I remember correctly, it's pretty cheap, but very, very weak. Now you get Daring Strike, the gold version of it, and it's a 0.25. Like, it's a massive increase. A lot of the whites to golds are not, like, they're strong, but they're not massive, massive. This one is 5 times stronger than its white. So it actually makes what Early Start is, which sucks, really good. Like, you'll never probably want to take Early Start. You're always going to want to get Daring Strike for your end closers. And so if you already know how strong Gold Ships is, Gold Ships ult, which I believe is a 6-second 0.25 movement. This one's not as strong. It's only 4 seconds. But it's a skill that everybody can get access to. Well, all end closers can get access to from here. You put this on a Gold Ship, and now she has her ult plus Daring Strike. She's going to be just constantly in a state of speed increase on long races. So very, very strong. It also has straightaway spurt built in, tail held high. And I believe you only really need limit break 1 on this one because level 45 is a mood effect. You unlock whip bonus with that first limit break. Training effectiveness is still 5, hit levels 2. You get 5% race bonus. At this point, we're starting to get ready to get out of Make a New Track. We're starting to approach Grand Live. So you can build this into it, and you just got to work around the race bonus. But race bonus doesn't go up, even if you get it up anyway. Training effectiveness doesn't go up if you MLB it. All you get is like that mood effect. Hint levels doesn't change. You get a little bit more hint frequency, I believe, which isn't that big a deal. A little bit more friendship bonus. Like, this card is great. Just pull at the limit break 1. Hopefully you can get out in 200 pulls. To me, if you like end closers, a must have. And then after that, Kind of nothing too crazy. And hopefully I'm not skipping over anything. You can let me know in the comments if I accidentally skip over something that's a good pull here. But I'm kind of just going over what I've seen. There's nothing too crazy here. We have, if you love your debuffers, we have Sweep Tosho coming out on Umas. And so Sweep Tosho will be unique in that I believe she'll be the first one we have that comes with Petrifying Gaze, which is an end closer debuff that decreases current speed. So think Dominator, but everywhere, because it's end closer specific, not medium like Dominator is. So you can take this for your long races and give them a 3-second, or I think it's ×3, so a 9-second speed decrease. And so pretty strong. I don't think there's really anything else too crazy with her, but if you like her, she's an end closer. She has Go Home Specialist also built in, like Gold Ship. She has Straightaway Spurt built in. You just now have a speed decreasing debuff to pair alongside another 6-second 0.35 speed. That's what Gold Ship does with her ult. You already know how strong she was on Gemini Cup and will be on Libra. So she might be a pickup for some. Very good Uma overall. I just thought I'd make note of that with Petrifying Gaze. Nothing too crazy here. We have a Taiki Shuttle speed card. Kind of sucks we don't get this earlier while she's an actual link match card. I don't think there's anything special about it though. It just has Mile Maven built in. But to me, a borrow card. If you need Mile Maven for a specific mile race, this is just a borrow in my opinion. I would not pull for that one. And then as you go through, I don't see anything too crazy here. You have the Seiyun Sky Narita Brian rerun. For those who need Seiyun Sky, if you've been doing frontrunners, you already know how important she is now. Now that we've had her out for a while, how good she is for your frontrunners. This is going to be your opportunity to get a copy of her. And luckily she's paired with, as you probably already seen now, with the buffs of another very strong Uma. Her ult's very good, a very good inherit on certain tracks. So great opportunity to pick up some strong Umas there. Do not get baited by this banner. So this Throne Assemblage SSR group card will be dropping. It will be meta for 1 month. Actually, probably less than that. I think one single champions meeting will it be meta. Guess what you do? Just borrow that thing. It's not a PAL card, it's a group card, which are similar to PAL cards. But we will be having all the way. Where is it? Man, I'm kind of losing track here. All right, here. This is when Grand Alive drops, which is when that PAL card's going to fall off because it's going to be good for Make a New Track. Grand Alive drops right here. So yeah, a month away, less than a month of the acceleration. Skip it. And another good reason, where is it? Oh, skip that one. So another good reason though is right after we have 2 very big banners coming up. And that is going to be the Mejiro McQueen and Gold Ship Summer dropping alongside Summer Maru Zensky and Summer. Man, why does this thing keep shooting me all over the place? Oh, that's because it puts it on support even though I click the characters here. Okay, so I'll go back down to it. So the Summer Maru Zensky and the Fine Motion Banner. Oh, no, that's too far. Sorry. That's later. That's going to be a must pull later if you don't MLB certain cards. Where was that? Right here. Okay, here we are. The Gold Ship City and Mejiro McQueen Summer. I'm getting all flustered on this one right now. Gold Ship Summer and Mejiro McQueen Summer. Uma banner alongside Maru Zensky Speed and the Nakayama Festa SSR Intelligence. So this one's going to be a big one, and luckily enough, unless you really need to pull Seiyun Sky, it's kind of spread out from some other big pulls. So you'll have some time to save up for the next banner, which I will say is a big one. And why I think both of them are big is Gold Ship is got a very unique or alt in that her alt triggers in the second half of the race, and it activates 2 gold skills at random, ignoring their conditions. And so on Gold Ship by herself, very good for team trials. She's just going to get you a crap ton of points activating gold skills. On other Umas, this opens up a lot of options to just do some weirdness on other tracks. One such case is bringing Mystifying Murmur to long races. Now, I don't think stamina is going to be a problem to the point that you'll want to do that, but you can bring things that are specific to one race type, like medium, and use this skill to activate it on a long. Think of something like maybe, I don't know, just kind of theory crafting here, Mile Maven, which is very strong. Mile Maven's very strong early race. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but something like Dominator that's strong on medium. Now you can use that Dominator debuff on a long, for example. Because on the Inherit, it's one random gold in the second half. Now, if you want to build around it, you'll have to use all white skills and then the one single gold that you want to force. Or you can just do some craziness. Now, I did mention one way you can pair this with another debuff with the Gold City Festival, which is a way to try and do the acceleration debuff that Gold City Festival has. It's a 0.4, I believe it is a 0.4 or 0.3 acceleration debuff. With this, you could potentially do a 0.3 acceleration debuff to everybody right as the late race starts. Now, the chance of that, it's very gambly, but you could just shut down everybody's acceleration right as the late race starts and just win because nobody else had, like, you just shut them down, but they don't even get to take off. But other than that, it'll be really good for team trials. You're going to want to put this alt on all of your Umas for team trials because it'll just activate one of their random gold skills, thus giving them a crap ton of points. So team trials pick up right there, or if you want to do some shenanigans. But the other one, this one is the big card, the Summer Muruzensky Speed. I've probably talked about this a lot. This was the original Summer Muruzensky killer. I think a lot of people think she got killed now because of the skill debuffs, even though she's still strong. But this is what really kills her, because it's a very strong speed card that you only really need one limit break on to take full value of it, that has everything your front runners want, including Top Runner, which is a gold version of Leader's Pride, very, very strong. And then it has everything. It has Groundwork, Early Lead, Playtime's Over, Slipstream, Leader's Pride, Front Runner Straightaways, Front Runner Corners. I mean, it has everything. Focus, and now lower hint levels, so there's a lot of skills, and they're kind of all over the place. Now, if you MLB it, you can get a little bit better on the hints, but nothing crazy. But you get that power bonus from Limit Break 1, which is ultimately all you need. This is going to be a card that's going to be in your front runner decks for quite a while. Very, very strong, too, with its unique effect. Training effectiveness per level of a training facility. So at level 5, 25% training effectiveness. So you can even use this speed card on your non-front runners. So, pretty good. So this is where I was generally stopping, but now that it's been a little bit since then, we're going to push a little bit farther to the next big banner. Next couple ones here. Yeah, so this one right here is another one where you only need to pick it up. One copy. If you have not gotten one already, it's the rerun of Yukino Bijin, and you only need one single copy. You'll miss out on wit bonus and initial wit, which when you start doing wit builds, you're already getting a crap ton of it, so not a big of a deal. The main reason you're picking it up with only a single copy needed is going to literally be a No Stopping Me. You've probably already seen how strong No Stopping Me can be. You'll see how really strong it can be on Libra Cup, which is our next champions meeting. She's going to be your premium card for a while on being able to pick it up. There's not many more options that are going to come out. And realistically, only the special week one, which is the stamina. Because you probably aren't going to use power on Mayano Top Gun. So, being a wit card, which you're going to use quite a bit, having No Stopping Me, if you don't have it at this point, I would pull to pick it up. it's going to continue to be strong. Now, Ikuno, which is currently available, will rerun here. At this point, we're getting ready to go into Grand Live. Race bonus is not going to be as massively important. Don't pull. You're not going to pull for her specifically. It's going to be for Yukino there. Right after that, we have Corpano Ricky. So if you thought Smart Falcon was strong for Dirt, which we haven't had a Dirt Champions meeting yet to really showcase it, she's going to come out right before the second Dirt Champions meeting, I believe, that we'll have. And she's just crazy good for Dirt, and she's going to continue to be crazy good. She has a lot of greens built in that give stat sticks to her, so gain 40 speed here. I think this one's specific to racetracks, all the Dirt ones. Speed stat increase, power stats. I believe this one is, speed stat increase based on your power. And she has a very, very strong ult with target speed and acceleration. She can get a 0.3 on both of them. It's based on the amount of greens she activates, which can go up to 6. So up to 6, she gets a 0.3 acceleration and 0.3 speed increase. Very, very strong. And I really like her stat sticks of 20% wit and power. Not a must-have, but she's going to be meta level for your Dirt racetracks, just like Smart Falcon kind of is. And then continuing on, we're going to talk about the last banner, which, kind of jumped on here. We're going to... this thing is on Uma's right now. Switch back to sports. The last banner I want to talk about, which is going to be Light Hello and Agnes Tachyon. This is the equivalent of the Rico Rice Shower banner was for Unity Cup, but for Grand Live. The Light Hello is basically the Rico of Grand Live. And unlike Rico, which is not completely mandatory, very, very strong, but not mandatory, she, from everybody I've talked to on it, in all continuing scenarios from here on, they pretty much become mandatory because of their interactions with the actual mechanics of the scenarios. Now, I don't know all the mechanics of all the future scenarios, so I can't explain to that. Just know she's going to be very, very strong for them, and even stronger at limit break 3, because once you get to higher limit breaks, I think 3 is the break point for most of them, that she's going to give a stronger interaction with that scenario gimmick. I can't explain to it because I have not looked heavily enough into it. Just know, must pull banner. We will get the free pulls. We got 100 pulls on Rico. This is like standard at this point for new scenarios. They'll give us those free pulls. So you will get a lot of pulls on her. The nice thing is, she does get paired with a fairly good speed card here, as you can kind of see on this banner. And this thing here, we'll talk about a lot of the cards I've gone over and kind of showing you their priorities and what they're good for. Like how it mentions end closers, the Mr. CB card, and all that. Any of them that I may not have mentioned. But as you can see, just kind of going to that one right here, the Speed Agnes Tachyon card is going to be a pretty good pace chaser card. And mediums as well, since medium corners. You can think of it, you probably already know Agnes Tachyon Wit and what it has. Very similar, although it has Head On, which you probably now have learned is a pretty good skill for your pace chasers. It has Attack Stance, which I think is a new one we'll be getting at some point. But then also Unstoppable, which is a gold version of that new Attack Stance skill. So it's going to be just a big pull because it's a scenario banner with a scenario card that's going to be very, very strong for that specific scenario, but at least it also comes with a decent card paired with it. That's going to be normal. All of the new scenario banners are like that, where they have very strong cards for that scenario paired with them. Now, this is not stupidly strong, but it is a speed card for your pace chasers. But it will continue that trend. Alcandro Pasa is paired with one. Air Shocker Stamina is paired with it. I think this is a Nishino Flower Power SSR is paired with one. The Ofefer, I believe, is paired with one. Almond Eye, which is the power creep to Alcandro Pasa Speed, is paired with one. That's just going to be normal. Every single scenario you're going to want to pull in the banner. So, that's pretty much it. That's all the banners. Sorry, this was a lot longer than I thought it'd be. I'm not sure if I like going through it on the timeline. You can let me know in the comments. Do you prefer me going through on Game Tora and just kind of going up and down that versus trying to use the timeline so you can kind of see the times here? Using the timeline was kind of finicky for me, but that is kind of my priorities all the way up to Grand Live. I may have missed some, so let me know in the comments if there's any like big ones that I missed here, or if you can kind of put a list of them. I'll pin it as a comment. So everyone, make sure to look in the comments for any other advice other people will have. Also, make sure to watch other content creators that talk about their own priorities and what's strong as well, as there's a lot of different ways you can approach this, and everybody has different decks. What I might say is good might be good for certain scenarios, but then maybe you're a heavily focused, you really love your late surgers, or you really love your pace chasers, and you might want to go a slightly different direction. But yeah, that'll be it for now, and if you like my content, if you like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.